Natasha? Natasha, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session today. I first want to thank you for taking the time. Everybody's really busy these days. Email is going through the roof and just busy, I'm sure, with all sorts of things. So thanks for being here. I also want to thank GLSE in particular and Natasha for organizing these events, which would have been very difficult for us actually to do under the circumstances. Otherwise, we would not be able to reach out to students. So this is really very helpful, and we're very grateful for all the work that you do. So today I am going to give you a presentation. I'm just going to stop making that so that you can see. You can focus on the slides. I am going to present the Professional Masters in Speech Language Pathology at the University of Toronto. This is a season program. It was established in 1958, so 2018 was our 60th anniversary. A master's degree in SLP was established in 1980. And the research master's and the PhD program in 1995. So there are 3 programs currently in speech language pathology at UT, a Master of Health Science, which is the profession program, Master of Science, and a Doctor of Philosophy, which are the research programs, and they live in the Rehabilitation Sciences Institute. With that said, our faculty, especially our research faculty, ensure that the 2 aspects, the professional aspect, the research aspect of these programs are connected. So your training as part of the professional program is based in the most recent research that our faculty carry here at U of T. These are your research faculty, so they carry work in all sorts of speech language pathology areas, from speech fluency disorders to swallowing disorders, bilingual development, speech production, oral motor control. All their work is actually available for you if you're interested to read on in more detail on our website. Their labs are also linked to our website. They're wonderful people, very dedicated researchers. I encourage you to go ahead and read about them if you do have an interest in about their work, if you do have an interest in pursuing a career in speech language pathology, regardless of whether it's professional or research. This is our website, www.slp.utoronto.ca. It's very easy to Google things nowadays. So it's a comprehensive website. Most of our admissions information is posted here. You can also find contact information for our student affairs office and for the various people in the department on our website. So feel free to check us out online. In case you have not come across this profession before and you wonder what is a speech language pathologist, and these are definitions given by the Speech Language and Audiology Canada. Autonomous professionals who have expertise in typical development and disorders of communication and swallowing, assessment and intervention for these areas. They also are and work as clinicians, professors, managers, administrators, researchers and business professionals. And you share a commitment to research and to educate the public together, to help everybody achieve excellence in communication. And so as a speech language pathologist, you will wear many hats, as you will see throughout my presentation, because of the many places where you might choose to work and you might just have to work during your career. So Where do you work as a speech pathologist? You can work in a hospital, helping people, for example, who've had strokes or dementia or accidents of any kind. You help them recover their speech and you help them swallow better and improve their quality of life. You might work with children who have speech impediments in schools, for example. You might also choose to work in rehabilitation centers. Many of our graduates have their own private practices. You might also choose to teach and or to carry research or to be involved. Your involvement in research really depends on the level of interest that you have in research. It's a very tight community, so in one way or another, you would be involved in several of these institutions that you see here and in several areas of work at any one time. So you might be wondering how much you would be earning as a speech language pathologist. So when you start in the profession, you would earn about $67,000, so up to $70,000, and after per year. And after 5 years of experience, your salary goes up to roughly $80,000. And of course, this all depends on the time that you are willing to commit to your work, and some aspects that are very fulfilling might not be as well remunerated as the others, and this is a balance that you have to find yourself. For more information, please see the websites below, and you can also Google these associations as well. Our program is a full-time two-year program. We only have one intake in September. The application deadline for the upcoming admission cycle is January 8, 2021. You must apply through ORPAS, which is the Ontario Rehabilitation Admission System. Our admission window has opened on October 15. January 8 is really a hard deadline, so you cannot go beyond that date. If you do plan to apply, please make sure that you have everything submitted by that date. The program length for the professional master's program is 22 months. The program is made of 9 units in total, 5 academic units, and 4 clinical units or placements. What's very unique to our program is that each academic unit is followed by a full-time clinical placement in the same area. What's more, courses are grouped based on theme. So each academic unit has one theme. So you take 4 or 5 courses in related areas, and then that particular academic unit is followed by a clinical placement in the same area. So you, in your clinical placement, gets you reinforce the knowledge that you've gained in the academic unit. So this will help you gain a very solid foundation. And it's, as you move through the program, you go through more and more sophisticated knowledge, more advanced knowledge, so that you're ready to practice by the time you complete the program. At the end of the program, you must complete what we call a capstone portfolio, which is really a reflection piece that shows the fact that you have reflected on and met the 8 departmental curriculum objectives, and that you really are ready for practice and ready to move out into the work. What are some of the innovative features of our program? Integrative learning experiences. Again, the academic and clinical modules are integrated. During your clinical placements, you attend teaching clinics, so you continue to learn. Your practice focus is evidence informed. The capstone portfolio is really very special, and our students are very excited usually at the end of the program when they must complete this capstone portfolio. It really helps them sort of integrate it at their end, and it sort of forces them in a very good way to understand what their hopes are and dreams and what they've learned, and to sort of gain a level of satisfaction with everything that they've learned, and to just sort of put everything together. And we also have a very strong interprofessional education curriculum. Some of the benefits of the interprofessional curriculum is that you learn with your peers, and you learn with people from other professions to develop core competencies, which are values and ethics, communication, and collaboration. So you'll be ready to move into the workforce, ready to work in teams, with a better understanding of all the aspects of teamwork, with the goal of improving the patient-client health outcomes. And of course, working together with other people who are just as dedicated to the patient will increase your satisfaction. And it will just help you build a community beyond the limits of your own profession. Who participates in the interprofessional curriculum? These are all the departments that are involved: dentistry, kinesiology, and physical education, medical radiation sciences, medicine, nursing, OT, pharmacy, physician assistant, PT, and social work. I have already mentioned the research that our faculty carry. Our faculty members, our department also has a very close relationship with the SLP community in education and in research as well. And we have an absolutely wonderful Alumni Association who is involved in the community, in the department. And they organize and participate in events, including graduation events, and they're very supportive for our students and for our graduates. They're just wonderful. Admission. So we admit 60 students every year. We receive roughly 300 applications, and it's a very competitive application process, as you can imagine. These are the requirements. We ask, actually this is a School of Graduate Studies requirement that we abide by. A 4-year undergraduate degree or equivalent. It doesn't have to be an honors degree. The School of Graduate Studies also asks for a need-be standing in final year. The first 2 criteria are valid for all graduate studies at UFT. So these are very minimal criteria that enable you to apply. We don't limit our applicants based on their field of study. So this is not a selection criteria, but we do recommend that about 75% of coursework be in arts and sciences. The reason for this being that we ask for prerequisites in, for example, both phonetics and physiology. So having a background in arts and science enables you to take courses that you will need as prerequisites while in the program. So that is a time saver for you and also a money saver. When you apply, please don't forget to list your awards and your scholarships, as they will give you a better image, a better understanding of what you did as an undergraduate student. Again, you will have to apply through our paths. The way they calculate the sub-GPA for admission purposes is they go from the last available numeric mark, counting back into the transcript until they have the equivalent of 10 full courses. And your December grades, if you're still an undergraduate, December grades are important because they are the first grades that they'll be looking at, and then they will be looking at. If you've already completed a graduate program, please know that the grades obtained in graduate programs do not count for the GPA calculation, but they do count when we review because they will be an indicator that you've done well and have been able to complete a graduate program. So chances are that you know what to do when you come into our program. These are the requirements for prerequisites. We ask for half course in child development, half course in phonetics, half course in general linguistics, half course in statistics, and in research methods. So separately, this is not an or. This is we need both statistics and research methods. And we also ask for a full course in human physiology. We have lists of approved courses for most Canadian universities. So please make sure to go to our website, go through those lists, see what has been approved. Do note that those are courses that were submitted to us for review over the years. They're not courses that reflect sort of the most recent offerings at various universities. We do not work with registrars. So if you do have a course that is not on the list that you feel is appropriate after you read the descriptions of prerequisites, feel free to submit a full syllabus to us, and we'll review, and if it's appropriate, we'll approve. I've already mentioned this. There's a web form that I strongly encourage you to use. Please, before you submit a course for approval, read through the prerequisite descriptions to avoid disappointment. This year, we have additional requirements. We normally have additional requirements, the clinical requirement being a very important component of the application. However, this year, in recognition of the disruption caused by COVID, we've decided to waive the clinical requirement. So you're not required to add hours or to submit a clinical reference. In fact, the clinical reference form has already been removed from the application package on OurPass. But if you do have that kind of experience, feel free to discuss it in this kind of meeting. What we do ask for, and this stays, 2 academic letters on university letterhead, somebody who knows your work well. Don't be afraid to ask your referees if they would be willing to give you a good letter. This is important, a strong letter, and start early. I cannot overstate this. It's really important that you start now, because professors at this time have lots and lots of letters to write. So you don't want to stress out close to January 8th. I've already mentioned that the clinical requirement has been waived. We also ask for a 1-page letter of intent. I'm just going to skip this. How to apply? You have to apply through OurPass. You can Google OurPass if you like. It's pretty straightforward. You do have to go through a number of steps. So start early. Start by your first step should be asking for reference letters. Your second step is start on your statement of intent, and at all times make sure that you obtain good grades, and this will help you keep your sub-GPA up or even improve it. You need good grades to get into this program. And just going back one step, your statement of intent is important. Make sure that you write it clearly and very concisely. And if you have had this commitment for some time, make sure that your path to the career sort of comes across in your statement, so that the admissions and awards committee understands your commitment to the field. You need to know your financial needs. This is a program that you will have to pay for. We do have a fund of bursaries and awards. Of course, you also have the government awards. You need to know that this is going to cost you about $25,000 per year. There will be costs associated with placements as well. And your scholarship, depending on what scholarship you get, you might or might not be able to have everything covered. So you need to be aware. Okay, and you can find us at slp.ugentle.ca. I respond from slp.studentaffairs@ugentle.ca. I prefer email this time as we all work remotely. And I tend to respond quite quickly. If you have any questions after reading through our website, feel free to contact me and I'll be happy to respond. Thanks very much for your attention.
So if anyone has any questions for Adriana, please post it in the chat box. That'd be great.
Okay.
One
Hi,
question
Diane.
already.
Yep, I can see the questions. Thank you for your question, Diane. A competitive GPA, we don't use a cutoff. However, our admitted applicants tend to have a sub GPA of at least A-. So it would have to be at least a 3.5, I think, in order to be competitive. It varies every year. So Natasha, I'm just wondering if you could provide an example of a course that is outside of the arts and sciences. I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question. Are you referring to prerequisite courses? If you're referring to prerequisite courses, I'm just guessing here. Don't worry, so you don't have to be in an arts and science program. You can take courses. It's not a requirement. We recommend, it's just easier if you have about 75 in arts and sciences. I mentioned before the fact that you have to take courses in, for example, both phonetics and statistics and research methods and physiology. So these are more sciences courses. And it's helpful if, as an undergraduate, you are in arts and sciences, just because you can take them as part of your program. However, you can also take these courses outside of your program as non-degree courses. So that's fine too. It's just more time and money for you. Does that answer your question? Great. So Rachel is asking, is there anywhere in the application to include volunteer experience obtained outside of a clinical setting? Yeah, you can list that in your statement, your intent. There's a form for that. Once you open your application, things will become clearer to you. You're welcome. So Diane is asking, would there be an advantage to having reference for a professor who's studying the related field? No, it doesn't matter. It just needs to be somebody who knows your work really well. And as I said, be sure to ask them if they can provide a strong reference. And if they're, able to honestly answer that question, that makes a difference for you. It doesn't matter, but they would need to know you well. Michaela's asking, can you please clarify in what passage says that the letter of intent must be a maximum of 3,000 characters? Yes, and that includes spaces. Natasha's asking, when we are doing research volunteering with a language researcher, should we count the hours we volunteer? I mean, it's really up to you. Absolutely, if you feel that that's relevant, we're just looking for, we're hoping that everybody will describe their full sort of life experiences, especially if it's related. So absolutely feel free to include those hours. How many hours of clinical would you say most applicants have? I'm assuming more than 14. Not necessarily. Well, some have lots and lots of hours, and some of our admitted applicants, were able to come into the program with just 14. We ask for 14, but you will have a chance to sort of show your interest and your qualities during those 14 hours. And in our experience, they are enough. However, if you have an opportunity to do more, that's always fine. But not to worry if you have only 14. And like I said, for this year, You don't have to have any clinical experience included with your application. Any more questions? Would you say grades are looked at more than volunteer? I'm just going to take this question. I think my time is up. Would you say grades are looked at more than volunteer? Grades are our first selection criteria. And this is the case for all graduate programs at any university. So it's the first thing we look at. So make sure you keep your grades up. You're welcome, and thanks everybody for being today, for being with us today.